Artificial restrictions on the high bidder system, monopolies, IP law, and Lockean property. Markets are efficient when property is continually reallocated to those who can make the most productive use of it. This principle, the high bidder system, ensures that resources gravitate toward their most valuable use. Any system that interferes with this process introduces inefficiency. Monopolies, intellectual property laws, and Lockean historical property claims all share this defect. Each functions by artificially restricting competition, privileging past possession or legal decree over ongoing productivity. In this sense, they operate like democratic governments granting monopolistic privileges rather than open markets evolving toward efficiency. The high bidder system and why it tends toward efficiency. The high bidder system works on a simple principle. The person willing to pay the most for a resource is usually the one who expects to use it most productively. Payment reflects not only ability, but also the opportunity cost of failing to acquire the resource. In this way, bidding acts as a sorting mechanism, continually reallocating property to those who can generate the greatest value. This process tends toward efficiency because it rewards actual productivity, not mere possession or privilege. Unlike arbitrary grants or historical claims, bidding is dynamic and self-correcting. If someone can use a resource better, they will outbid the current holder. Crucially, the system is reinforced by the evolutionary feedback of profit and loss. If a high bidder misjudges their productivity, losses signal the error and erode their capacity to keep bidding. Conversely, if their judgment was correct, profits increase their future bidding power. Over time, this feedback loop corrects expectations, ensuring that decision-making power and resource control align with proven productivity rather than speculation or privilege. The high bidder system is therefore not just efficient in theory but self-correcting in practice. Monopolies, restricting rival entry. Monopolies restrict the high bidder system by barring rivals from entering markets. A monopolist does not retain control through superior bids, but through artificial barriers such as state charters, cartel agreements, or privileged access. The result is higher prices, restricted output, and deadweight loss, a failure to let the most productive competitors bid resources away from entrenched incumbents. The monopoly is thus a legal fiction of superiority, maintained by suppressing competition rather than by earning it. Government regulation compounds this problem by imposing high fixed costs, compliance requirements, licensing fees, legal complexity, which small entrants cannot easily absorb. Larger incumbents, however, spread these costs across vast operations, gaining an artificial economy of scale. This further entrenches monopoly, not because incumbents are more productive, but because regulation inflates barriers to entry and disguises them as efficiency. Intellectual property, creating artificial scarcity. Intellectual property law similarly undermines the high bidder system. Ideas and knowledge are naturally non-rivalrous, yet governments artificially enforce exclusivity through patents and copyrights. This prevents competitors, often more productive bidders, from using, improving, or disseminating knowledge. IP thus functions as a state-granted monopoly over thought and innovation, restricting evolutionary progress by protecting incumbents rather than rewarding the most productive innovators. Moreover, IP law tends to over-incentivize innovation at the expense of production. Resources are disproportionately funneled into inventing new technologies, sometimes of marginal value, while suppressing the efficient mass production of goods with extant, proven technologies. The result is an imbalance. Society chases novelty but starves itself of affordable, scalable production, another form of inefficiency caused by restricting the high bidder system. Lockean property, historical monopoly claims. Lockean property systems extend the same inefficiency to land and capital. By tying ownership to first appropriation or inheritance, these systems allow historical claims to override current productivity. Property remains in the hands of heirs or entrenched owners regardless of whether they can outbid competitors in present use. This is a monopoly of time, where the past dictates ownership and the high bidder system is sidelined. Just as monopolies and IP laws restrict entry into markets, Lockean property restricts the reallocation of resources to higher productivity users. Artificial restriction as the common mechanism. Whether through monopolies, IP, or Lockean claims, the mechanism of inefficiency is the same: artificial restriction of the high bidder system. Monopolies block competitors from bidding. IP laws forbid rivals from bidding on knowledge and distort capital toward invention over production. Lockean property blocks reallocation to the highest bidder. All three transform markets into systems of privilege, where resources are hoarded by incumbents instead of being continually tested and reassigned through competition. Conclusion: any system that restricts the high bidder system is not a free market but a political construct of privilege. Monopolies, IP law, and Lockean property are not separate problems. They are parallel manifestations of the same flaw: the suppression of evolutionary competition through artificial barriers. In each case, society suffers deadweight loss, innovation is misdirected, and resources remain trapped in less productive hands. To dismantle these inefficiencies, the high bidder system must be preserved as the sole arbiter of property allocation, ensuring that resources flow, relentlessly and transparently, toward their most productive uses.